And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we are going to be thankless people. Thankless, because we're going to be saying no thanks all day. This is a card game, 3 to 5 players. It's a classic. This is from Z-Man Games. 3 to 5 players, takes 20 minutes to play. Super simple to teach, very fun to play. Let's see, I'll show you how it's played very quickly. I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of No Thanks, every player gets 11 chips, and the cards in the deck come, and they range anywhere from 3 to 35. There's one of each number. At the beginning of the game, they're going to get shuffled, and 9 of these are randomly going to be pulled out of the deck, so there will be 24 cards in the deck at the beginning of the game. By the way, I'll notice that these cards are a different type than what's shown on the box, which I was kind of weird. I always thought the artwork was never very good in this game in the first place, but these cards are just kind of atrocious. I wish they would do an upgrade of these. Anyway, this is how the game's played. You're trying to get the least amount of points. These cards are worth points, so you do not want to take any cards if you can, or you want to take the least amount of points on cards. So when a card comes up, the first player has a choice. They can either take this card, put it in front of them, which at this point is worth 12 points, or they can say no thanks basically and place a chip on it. And it's the next player's turn. Same thing. They can either take it with the 12 plus the chip, or they could say no thanks. Same with the next player. They'll take it or no thanks. Take it, no thanks. It keeps going round and round and round until there's enough chips on there that somebody wants to take it. Well, what do the chips do? Well, if you took this with no chips on it, it's 12 points. If you take it with this, each one of these chips at the end of the game that you have in your hand is going to be minus points for each one chip. So it's 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Once you take this, it's a 12, but you have these chips to take, so it's really only worth 6 if you think about it. So you would take this and you take these chips in your hand, because you start with 11 chips, and if you come around and one of these cards comes up and you don't have any chips in your hand, well, you have to take it, and it might be a high card. So it's a balance between trying to play the chips or not. Now, so then it's the person who took the card would flip this over, and then they would decide again whether they want the card or not. Let's say this was the end of the game, and I had these 3 cards in front of me. So typically it would be 12 plus 22 plus 24 minus however many chips I have, and that would be my points. Lowest points wins. But let's say a card had come up, and it was a 23 in the deck, and it went around and around, and people are putting chips on it, and I take it. So when I take this, because 22, 23, and 24 are now consecutive values, we align them on top of each other like this. And what this means is, even though there's 3 cards here, because they're consecutive, I only take the 22. These cards are worth 0. So it's really big to, and that's another thing, it's big in this game, is you're trying to fill in gaps maybe of some of your cards. So at this point, my points would basically be 22 plus 12, minus however many chips I have, and that would be my points. And so this continues until this would be the end of the game, but as we were saying how it works with the chips and stuff, this just goes all the way until all 24 cards are gone, and at the end you count up the points as I showed you below. Everyone minuses the chips they have. The one who has the lowest points is the winner. Alright, well there's no thanks. Let me tell you what I didn't like about it first. I've always thought that this box and the cards that were there just looked kind of lame. It's not very, it looked like, hey, this game's classic, it's been around for a while, it's always popular, it sells out almost all the time on cool stuff, it's a great classic game. It needs a refresh, it needs not theming, but just a new coat of paint, some more modern looking cards, a modern looking box, make it look a little bit more flashy, because it deserves it. Again, you get these cards, and then you look at this box, and the cards that were in it, as you saw, are like disgusting. It almost looks like a color printer was going out of print. The toner was going out. I mean, it was awful. The cards are awful. Terrible. But the game is so good that as bad as these cards are, I love this game and I want to keep playing it. It's so easy to teach. There's not a whole lot of rules. It's simple, yet elegant. And it's fun to watch it go around and figure out how many times can that thing go around. How many chips are going to be on it? When do I take it? Is this worth it for me to take it? And it just always gets to that point where people have got tough choices to make. It's so simple, but yet so elegant, so awesome. Classic game. This is one that everyone should have in their collection. And I love the fact that, you know, when the card comes up that's like in between your 2 values, and you're like, all right, I'll put a chip on it. No one else is going to take it. And it's like that, press your luck. All right, I'll send it around again. I think I can get it. And it's like when someone takes it, you're like, oh man, I got greedy. I should have taken it. So it's fun. Great game, so simple to teach, but yet deep and fun. Gosh, no thanks, just please give it a new coat of paint.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.